broadcast in just a moment. Hello, everyone. Okay, let's do this in 3, 2, 1, now. Hello, it's time for another edition of Rob Carson's What in the World? It is a Thursday edition. It started the 23rd of April. And it's the year 2020 as Floyd and Kelly and Billy, or Ellie, I should say, join me, and Glenn as well. For the next, maybe hour or so, I've got a lot of video clips. I've got a lot of commentary. Let me move this mic because I don't want to take away from my lovely face. Anyway, glad to have you joining me. How does it sound? How does it sound, kids? Let's go ahead and just double check. Sounds like it's sounding pretty good. Yes, sir. John, thank you for joining me as well. Let's make this as big as possible. That's what she said. Okay. So we are gradually beginning to think about opening up businesses, I believe, in Kansas, where I live, in the Kansas City, Kansas part of Kansas City, the 3rd of next month. So it looks like we will have maybe gymnasiums open, which I would love. Hairstylist, hair cuttery would be open again. That would be kind of nice because I'm really tired of it. And the BS will start to subside. I've been through an awful lot because of this for a number of reasons. I have started, I originally cried BS on this whole coronavirus pandemic, fear-mongering crap about a month ago. And about a month ago, I said, no, it's not. And more than that, actually. It was more than that. And I was one of the first people to do it. And consequently, I was the odd man out. I was the outsider, and I've endured a great deal of derision on social media from people, and it goes on every single day. And I've actually lost some friends because of it. And honestly, if your definition of friendship is you have to have someone agree with everything you think, and you have to be as equally panicked as everyone else, then I don't want to be your friend. And there were a bunch of people who just were quite simply, I was not satisfactorily panicked with them. Do I want to get this? No, hell no, I don't want to get this. I want to be healthy. I want to be healthy with my family. I don't want to get sick. I had H1N1 in 2010. I was sick as a dog. 61 million people in the country had it. Whole lot of people died from it in 2010. We are discovering, as they do more testing and antibody testing in New York, they found out that a lot more people had it, and a lot more people didn't do anything about it. Okay? Same thing with a Stanford University study and a USC study. Sometimes 50, 60 times as many people had it, and consequently survived it, didn't even know they had it, or maybe thought they had something else. And consequently, the death rate went down, and now it's about that of flu. I think this entire debacle has been ruinous for the country, and I think it was unnecessary. I've said that from the get-go. There's no damned reason why this country should have shut down. We have never done this in our history. We have encountered worse things. We didn't do this during polio. Now, we think about polio. Polio in the 1930s, 1940s, I wasn't around. It was terrifying. You wake up one day, you're not able to walk. People have to spend their entire lives doing, it was called iron lungs because they lost the ability to breathe on their own. They didn't shut down the country. They didn't tell everybody they couldn't work. We are only beginning to realize the damage this has done. As I think my son is downstairs, he's able to study. He's home from KU. He's paying tuition. He's paying for an apartment he doesn't live in right now. My daughter's right now, there's not a lot of options for her online courses as a freshman in college. They weren't ready, or high school. They weren't ready for it. Theaters are done. Live concert venues are done. Sporting events are done. Churches are closed. Every damn restaurant in the world is closed. Daycares are closed. I could go on and on. Are you out of your effing mind? Can you realize, as another 5 or 6 million people declared or signed up for unemployment this week, and now we're at about 25 million people, do you even realize, do you just not get it? Has it not hit you yet? Is the reason that it's not that big a deal because you're sitting, maybe some people are sitting on their butts at home and they're perfectly fine getting a check from the government? Well, I certainly am not. My job has been deemed necessary. But this is killing people. And it's got to stop. And this can never happen again. It can never happen again. This is a headline. This is a new study. Another one of these bullcrap studies from the Journal of Benefit Cost Analysis is what this comes from. It says here, now it hasn't been peer reviewed, and it's slated for publication in the Journal of Benefit Cost Analysis. But it says here that a new statistical study has suggested that the value of lives saved by shutdowns in the coronavirus pandemic could outweigh the damage to the U.S. economy by $5.2 trillion. Okay? Listen to this line of absolute, and normally I don't use profanity. I'm just going to say absolute shit. Okay? Hi, Peter. How you doing there? The study assumes that 2.2 million Americans would have been killed in the pandemic without lockdown measures. We know that came from Imperial University in London, and it was a line of crap. They also said 500,000 people in Great Britain would die without lockdown measures. And that each life lost has a statistical value of $10 million for a total cost in deaths of $21 trillion over the controlled scenario. So this is from the Department of pulling statistics out of your rear end. This is a sort of just crap. There is no... Okay, let me explain it. About 2 million people in the entire world have gotten this, okay? The Black Plague, when the world's population was much smaller, killed 200 million people. All right, 30 million people died of the Spanish flu internationally. We're not even close to that on the number of people who've gotten it. This has all been nonsense. Are people sick? Oh, hell yeah. Are we concerned about people who are elderly or have pre-existing conditions? Hell yeah. And in New York, where half of the cases and half of the deaths occurred, most of them were elderly people with pre-existing conditions. That's been proven. Why aren't we protecting them? Why aren't we protecting them? Why didn't we just protect them from the beginning without shutting down the entire damned country? And you watch the news and you see Chris Cuomo emerge from his basement. You know, Chris Cuomo was so sick. How was he able to do his show every night? If Chris Cuomo was so sick, so desperately ill, why was he would do the show every night? He wasn't coughing. He was not experiencing any sort of experiencing any sort of distress when he did his show. He wasn't congested. He didn't have a frog in his throat. He was able to do the show, but somehow he survived this harrowing ordeal. The same goes with Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson. I had a buddy named Mike. He survived it, and he had a heart condition. And that was one of the reasons why he was pretty sick, and he had to go into the emergency room, and then he had to go into intensive care for a couple of days. But he has a heart condition. Most people who get this, you think maybe you got a little bit of flu, maybe you got a cold, or you got nothing at all. George Stephanopoulos. Okay, his wife, Allie Wentworth, felt like a bad flu. George Stephanopoulos, asymptomatic, not a damn thing. And, of course, Chris Cuomo, like I said, Chris Cuomo was able to do his show without any issues. Then he came out of his basement like Lazarus, rising from the grave. We know that the 500-bed U.S. Navy ship Comfort, leaving New York, it just treated 179 people in 3 weeks. It originally was there to handle overflow from the hospitals. There wasn't any overflow from the hospitals. The hospitals were not jam-packed. They didn't need the 30,000-plus ventilators that the government was stomping up and down about. The panic monger governor, the panic monger mayor who blame Donald Trump for everything except no blame whatsoever, even though their state has 50% of the deaths and the cases in the country. There are 49 other states where that didn't happen. And it's Donald Trump's fault, right? Unbelievable. Hello, Deb. Hello, Daddy. Hello, Chris and Rusty. What is going on, my friend? And Linda as well. Glad to have you joining me. And Carol and John. Rand Paul, he had it. Rand Paul, he's had a rough time of it. He had a neighbor tackle him. He was a Democrat neighbor, tackled him, knocked him off of his riding lawnmower, broke a couple ribs. Harmed him greatly, by the way. My computer just went blank. Could be Facebook. Here's Rand Paul in the Senate talking about his experience and why we need to get back to work.
No amount of money, not all the money in China, will save us from ourselves. Our only hope of rescuing this great country is to reopen the economy. If you print up billions of dollars and give it to people, they are unlikely to spend it until you end the quarantine. The good news, though, is that the scientific community finally has facts instead of conjecture. The models that used 3.4% mortality were fortunately very wrong. Random samples now of thousands of people have now been tested for antibodies or immunity to coronavirus. 2 large randomized studies in California show similar results. The number of people who have already developed antibodies to the coronavirus is 25 to 50 times higher than the number that is being reported as infected.
They call that herd immunity. Now, herd immunity has been happening throughout history. That's how pandemics end. Okay, that's how pandemics end. We have pandemics that there is no cure for. The cure is that the virus runs its course. And if we are so content to let flu run its course every year, why not this?
This is great news. This study means that the mortality rate may well be 25 to 50 times less deadly than previously thought. The virus is still dangerous, and we shouldn't ignore the risks, but we should put those risks in perspective.
Thank you very much. And this entire incident has been blown completely out of perspective. I shop at a Walmart. It's a big old Walmart. There are a lot of people there. A lot of people there who shop there. No cases of coronavirus. I mentioned last night I met a guy. He works at a very large nursing home community. 1,000 residents, not one case. They keep the place spit-shined. They're very careful about it. Yesterday we heard the governor of South Dakota. She said, here's the deal. This is why South Dakota's prediction of infections and deaths has lowered 75%. She said, wash your hands, stay home if you feel sick, and call the doctor. There you go. This is what your mom has said for her entire life. Your entire life. Your mom said it, your grandma said it before that. This is the House of Representatives today. They were back in session. Yeah, I know. Look at all the masks on their faces. It kind of makes sense. They should wear masks on their faces all the time just for the amount of money that they take from us. Doesn't it kind of make sense? A lot of people are really mad that Jim Jordan Jim Jordan did not have his mask on. Here is Jim Jordan today on the floor of the House without a mask, and apparently he cleared his throat a couple times, so he was practically murdering people.
Madam Speaker, 8 different oversight processes are in place as we speak. We got the Oversight Committee itself, which has the broadest jurisdiction of any committee in Congress to do oversight. We have the committees of jurisdiction, which each have a subcommittee that does oversight: Ways and Means, Energy and Commerce, Small Business, and of course Financial Services. We have the CARES Act itself, which created the commission, Oversight Commission in the bill itself.
Now, you would assume that the House of Representatives, that Congressman, the president, would know some things about this that we don't know. That's one of the things that people say, hey, man, the only reason they're overreacting like this, the only reason everything is shut down is because they know something we don't know. Well, did you see all the people? Nancy Pelosi took her mask off to speak today. How is that, people? How's this guy in Congress not wearing a mask? How are about half the people in Congress today not wearing masks if they know something we don't know?
We have the CARES Act, which also created the Pandemic Response Accountability Committee in the bill itself. That's the fourth one. The fifth one, we have the IGs, the Inspector Generals from each of the respective agencies, Health and Human Services, Treasury. Sixth, we have a Special Inspector General created in the CARES Act. Seventh, we have $20 million in funding appropriated in the CARES Act, which created a process for auditors and experts at GA.
I think what he's trying to say is Congress chases its tail a whole lot. Now, my Aunt Kay is here. She said that Rand Paul had the virus, and he's perfectly fine. He's not going to be able to probably get it again, but she says it's too dangerous to open everything. It's just too dangerous. Well, I disagree. I think you need to protect those who are impacted by it most. And you know why I say that? Listen to this, kids. Because in New York, 90% of all coronavirus patients placed on ventilators in the city died. Okay? Outcomes for 2,634 patients altogether. 20% passed away. These are people who are in high-risk groups. Those placed on ventilators, 88% died. For those over 65, mortality rate was 97% when put on a ventilator. Okay? 94% of the people who were hospitalized, that's 2,634 patients that I just mentioned, had some sort of a underlying health condition. It found out 50% had high blood pressure, 42% were obese, 34% had diabetes. That's it. Karina Davidson, one of the study of this author, she's the study that I've just been talking about here, said that we want patients with serious chronic disease to take special precaution and to seek medical attention early should they start showing symptoms and signs of being affected. That includes knowing that they've been exposed to someone who has had this virus. But the rest of us, we're going to be okay. All right? If you don't have an underlying health condition, if you're a younger person, you're going to be okay. You're not going to be able to see mom if she's 90 years old. You know, you'll have to keep a safe distance. It's just the way it is, particularly if you have been exposed to it. Business owner. This is pretty interesting. Business owners. There's a business owner, Jamie Black Lewis. She was able to get loans for $177,000 and $43,800. Thought that her 35 spa employees would be happy they weren't losing their jobs. Yeah. Instead, she was met with a firestorm of hatred. Why is that? She said the employees, many of which were paid hourly, were angry because they were preparing to obtain more money through unemployment than they would by staying employed. It's a windfall they see coming. In their mind, I took it away, she explained. I couldn't believe it. On what planet am I competing with unemployment? We cannot create an incentive not to work. And that's happening with a lot of people in this country. You know, you get that $1,200 check from the government. You get $500 per kid. And it's a little bit ridiculous that people who don't need the money, couples making $200,000, should get $2,400 as a couple and another $500 for each kid. It's absurd. This whole thing is absurd. Where I work, I know a guy who makes $150,000 a year. He's not getting $1,200. He's only getting $1,000. Are you freaking kidding me? We're burying our country in debt. We're destroying our children's future. Right now, the debt of the United States is at $25 trillion, and there's no end in sight. We have a virus, and we know people can't work for a variety of reasons. Rick Scott said to the Miami Herald, we got to help them out, but at the moment we get back to work, we cannot create an incentive not to work. We cannot be paying people where more money on unemployment than they get paid on their job, and some people are. This is the story about some of the difficulty and here's the thing: if you have a small business or a large business, and the government says you had to shut down, you should be able to take some money. The government should pay you. Now, I disagree with the Ashford Incorporated hospitality real estate business with several subsidiaries. Okay, it's a luxury hotel group. And they got $30 million in loans from the U.S. Paycheck Protection Program, the biggest sum received by one of more than 100 public company disclosures related to these. Group subsidiaries also took $8 million in loans, and subsidiaries affiliate company Braemar Hotel and Resorts have been granted $15 million. Now they're laying off a lot of people. They're laying all sorts of people off. And guess what? Their executives are getting millions of dollars in dividends. That's where you cross the line. That's where you cross the line. I said yesterday, if P.F. Chang's, their business is down. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Ruth's Chris, that's only rich people go there. Ruth's Chris is a steakhouse. They have a clientele. And nobody is going to eat at Ruth's Chris if they have to drive by curbside. Nobody is going to go to Ruth's Chris and say, I want that $60 10-ounce filet mignon in a styrofoam container delivered to my car. But here's the state of business in America, and of course, because it is the government, in many areas of the country, it is a cluster. You know what?
Jeray Simons Miller, a massage and yoga studio owner, had to furlough 27 employees in March.
Now she's the one that I just said her employees are really mad because they were going to get more on unemployment.
She applied for the Paycheck Protection Program loan as soon as she could. She says it's been a confusing journey.
They wanted certain forms to open the business.
Imagine that, a confusing journey through government bureaucracy. Really?
This bank account, which I wasn't able to find because I haven't needed them for many years.
Miller applied for the loan at 4 banks. The last one was approved.
I am so grateful that I have funds that I can give to my employees because they are out of work. But it's not a loan to help solidify a business that is unable to operate.
Lisa Baluma and her husband run a French-Moroccan bistro in Hoboken, New Jersey with a business partner. The partner is in the hospital with COVID-19, adding even more stress to the process.
I felt like we had to get on the phone immediately. We had to quickly stand in line type of thing. I felt like it was going to be a huge savior.
Baluma was lucky. A neighbor who's a lawyer helped her navigate the process.
Okay, so basically, not only are businesses being told they have to shutter, then they've got to jump through a bunch of hoops. There are a lot of people who literally have to wait weeks and weeks and weeks. They haven't got money yet. I'll get to what Governor Cuomo said about those people in just a second, because it was tone deaf. It was like what Nancy Pelosi did on James Corden's show, and she stood in front of her $40,000 freezer fridge combos with her $13 a pint gelatos. And by the way, if you didn't see the ad for that, I want to play this ad. It's absolutely a marvelous piece of advertising. Nancy Pelosi appeared very tone deaf as she and other House members, all of Congress, was off for 3 weeks. Came back she had a designer scarf on today, by the way. And she was on James Corden's show talking about how she deals with the shutdown of the country in her multi-million dollar mansion. And the Trump campaign took the footage and made this.
We turn now to that $350 billion fund to help small businesses and its workers get through the shutdown.
It will be up to Congress to restock it.
But Democrats blocking that move this morning.
They asked for $250 billion in 48 hours. I said, well, I don't think so. They objected, and
well, because apparently there wasn't $25 million in there for the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C.
Congratulate the Senate Democrats.
Speaker Pelosi, what are you going to share with us from your home?
Chocolate candy.
Thousands have been forced to wait for hours at food banks all across the country.
This is chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. We just got to restock the ice cream.
You don't want to eat up everything all at one time.
I can't do it much longer. I'm trying.
Look at that. Look at that fridge right there. You got some eggs. You got, I don't know, maybe those some pizza rolls down there. You got some, looks like cran grape in the front. Half a gallon of milk, some OJ in the back.
So hard.
Shall we say, enjoying.
Having to admit that, yeah, we're starving, and
I like it better than anything else.
Taping this segment, there are 22 million people out of work.
This specific program is about stopping job losses today.
This is hurting people bad.
Other people in our family look for some other flavors, but
Right now, it's survival move. You don't know where that next something else is going to come from.
I don't know what I would have done if ice cream were not invented. I just wonder.
Wow. She's got $300 worth of ice cream in her damn freezer. You know? Unbelievably tone deaf. They finally did pass a second round of stimulus for small businesses. Andrew Cuomo was asked about, you know, there are a lot of businesses, they haven't received a check yet. They haven't received a loan. People haven't gotten their unemployment check yet. They haven't got any money from the government. And they're expected to, I guess, miraculously, using some sort of mind control technique, convince their landlords not to boot them. Convince their utility companies to not turn off their electricity. They'll go to the grocery store and say, hey, man, listen, I need to feed my family, but I haven't got my check yet. So why don't you just go ahead and give me the groceries and I'll get back to you. Listen to how tone deaf this fool is.
They're also saying, if you can't afford to pay me unemployment or your system
you
is
will
not
be
set
paid.
up,
You will be paid
but
unemployment
they can't
from.
Tell that to the utility company. You will be paid. Tell that to the landlord. You will be paid.
For they can't wait for the money. They're out of money.
Yeah, we're talking about a couple of days lag on the unemployment insurance, and they will get the check from the date of unemployment. It does not cost them an extra penny. Now, they can say unemployment insurance isn't enough. I get it.
When the government puts you out of work, when the government shuts down your business, you should get what you're paid. All right, unemployment insurance, if you get fired from a job, then you will get a fraction of what you made. But if the government shutters your business, takes away your way of life, you ought to get paid what you get paid.
Even with the $600 check and the $1,200 check and the unemployment insurance benefit is not enough. I understand the economic hardship. Do
you really? Do you understand that as you live in your governor's mansion? And you're part of the dynasty in the state of New York, and you're not missing a damn paycheck?
I feel it. The question is, what do you do about it?
What do you do about it? Really?
And do you put public health at risk? And do you drive up the number of deaths for it? Because you have no...
Your brother left his basement, got his son sick, by the way, went to his vacation home or his second home. He didn't die. And this fool, he said, he made it sound like, you know, coronavirus is death. Well, no, it's not. It's actually about the same mortality rate as the flu.
No idea how to reopen now.
So they're saying that, is there a fundamental right to work if the government can't get me the money when I need it?
Here it is.
Is there a
you
fundamental right
you want to
go
to work? Go take a job as an essential worker.
You go first, okay? Why don't you do something essential for a change? Because honestly, I see a lot of caterwauling, a lot of blame, a lot of BS from you. All right? You didn't have enough ventilators. You didn't have enough hospital beds. Turned out you were wrong. Turned out that once again, a leader in the state of New York thinks that New York is the most important thing in the world to the rest of the country, and it doesn't mean anything. New York is not a metaphor for America. It couldn't be anything further from America. It's nothing in common with the Midwest. It has nothing in common with Iowa or Kansas or Idaho or Wyoming or North Dakota. It has nothing to do with it. And neither does California. But that's where all the media is, and consequently, if the crisis is in New York and you're not giving them enough, then the whole world is falling. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a complete and utter moron. She is a child. She is childlike. She says she has a degree in economics. Really? Because I'm thinking she fell asleep a lot in class. She's saying that basically, hey, man, she's advocating for staying home and getting a government check. She is. The Democrat Party loves their dependent class. She's saying, hey, man, why go back to work? Why go back to work at all? Why provide a service? Why keep the economy moving? Why don't you just sit on your butt and get a government check? This is what she is advocating by saying this. Okay, let's try that again, kids. Yeah, she's on an idiotic show.
There's a lot that we could be doing right now, but ultimately, I think when we talk about this idea of reopening society.
Yeah, the quotes. I don't know why she's using the quotes, but yeah, reopening society. Getting back to
only
business.
in America does the president, when the president tweets about liberation, does he mean go back to work? When we
Do you think liberation is staying at home and feeding off the government and being reliant on the government? Is that liberation?
Have this discussion about going back or reopening. I think a lot of people should just say, no, we're not going back to that. We're not going back to working 70-hour weeks just so that we could put food on the table and not even feel any sort of semblance of security in our lives.
You mean like being a farmer? You mean that? Maybe 70 is probably a short work week to most farmers. Do you think farmers feel security? You idiot. Yeah, this woman didn't even know that you put a seed in the ground, something would grow. Did you know that a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago? She was surprised you could put a seed in the ground and lettuce would come out. There are a lot of people who work 70 hours a week and there's no security. Try being in radio sometime. What an idiot. Complete and utter idiot. The mayor of Las Vegas, she's being destroyed in the media because she's suggesting that we allow businesses to open on their own accord. She lives in Vegas. Vegas is being destroyed right now. Vegas is made of tourism. Vegas is made of entertainment. Vegas is made of restaurants. Vegas is made of casinos. Vegas is made of entertainment venues. Vegas is dead. And she was on with Anderson Cooper, and Anderson Cooper would have none of her logic, and attempted, and the rest of the media is making it look like she has no idea what she's talking about. She's a free market capitalist. She's saying that let the businesses decide, and then let the customers decide if they want to go.
You're talking about encouraging hundreds of thousands of people to come to Las Vegas. I get the financial losses people are suffering, which is awful. But you're encouraging, hundreds of thousands of people coming there in casinos, smoking, drinking, touching slot machines.
You can't actually smoke in casinos anymore there, buddy. I don't know if you've been to the casinos lately, but you can't.
Breathing circulated air, and then returning home to states around America and countries around the world. Doesn't that sound like a virus petri dish? How is that
know
safe?
What it sounds like? You're being an alarmist. I'm not. I've lived a long life.
Watch the look on his face here.
I grew up in the heart of Manhattan. I know what it's like to be with subways and on buses and crammed into elevators.
Yeah, you're being an alarmist because that's how you get ratings. Well, you don't get ratings because you're on CNN.
I think you are by saying what you have just said.
So you don't believe there should be any social distancing? You don't believe that this is
Of course I believe there should be. Of course.
How do you do that in a casino?
That's up to them to figure out.
Whoa. Wait a minute. You mean the government can't do it?
I don't own a casino. I don't know anything
Wait
about
a minute. I'm sorry. You're the mayor of Las Vegas, and you want casinos to be open, even though you have no authority, thankfully, over casinos. But you say open them up, but you have no responsibility about how that would be done safely?
No, you're blurring. No, you're blurring.
You said it's not your job.
There. I am not a private owner of a hotel. I wish I were. And I would have the cleanest hotel with 6 feet figured out for every human being comes in there.
Oh, imagine that. It's like, I don't know, a retirement community. You close down a retirement community? Maybe that's not the best analogy, but you close it down and clean it out, people. You can't live here anymore. You can't be here anymore. They've done that with restaurants. They've done that with everybody else. As far as social distancing, just a giant line of crap. This keeping a social distance of 6 feet is a line of crap. You know what causes the most transmission? When you're in a room with somebody for a month. When you're in the same house with somebody, when you're in the same nursing facility. It's not when you go out and walk in a park. It's not when you go to an amusement park and get on a roller coaster. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And of course, CNN is using it. And the national media is using it because, not as people... This is kind of a leftist dream is what it is, because the leftist, communists would sooner see you behind an oxen in a field with no ability to drive or fly, you living in a feudal economy while the proletariat lives in the lap of luxury. That's what Washington, D.C., that's what draining the swamp is all about. And there are a lot of people who are radical leftists who subscribe to climate change, and which was global warming, but it wasn't warming, so they had to change it. But they're saying this is the best thing in the world, man. And our carbon emissions are down. And apparently, according to CNN, there's been a pause, apparently, in global warming, but that's not really the case.
There seems to be this perception that maybe the virus has helped humanity buy some time when it comes to global warming. What's wrong with that assumption?
We'd have to keep doing this.
Now, here's the thing. For radical environmentalists, what is happening right now, the destruction that is happening right now is not enough. Listen to this guy.
Even more, and do it for the next 30 years to really begin to bend the curve on the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere.
So we would have to be on our knees and have the economy destroyed for 30 years, essentially living like Escape from New York, before the curve finally started to get bent on the environment.
It's kind of like having a really huge bathtub in the sky filled with pollution, and we have the faucet pouring more in, and all we've done is kind of turn down the faucet a little bit.
So what, do you want to turn it off?
But it's still filling up.
Thanks to the current oil crash, when the lockdown is lifted, we'll see the lowest gas prices in generations. And with Donald Trump's Environmental Protection Agency gutting dozens of regulations.
He's gutting all sorts of regulations across the country. That's a glorious thing. It is an absolute glorious thing. And it doesn't mean that the air is going to get dirtier.
Experts say a spike in pollution seems inevitable.
Seems inevitable, okay? So that's not even scientifically based. That is a complete opinion piece, by the way. Hello, Eric and Greg and Ryan and Marty. Thank you for joining me. Do appreciate it. Please share with others. And Wendy and Randy. Randy, my college friend Randy, and Carol. Good to have you joining me tonight. Let's move on to a little bit less serious stuff. A little bit less serious. How about that? Is that okay? This is one of the worst things you can do as an anchor. And being a TV anchor can probably be a little stressful, especially when you accidentally inform the listeners or the viewers that somebody died when they didn't.
We do want to mention one person who was singled out today by Governor Murphy. This young man that you're looking at right there, 26-year-old Jack Allard. We profiled him last month. Michelle Charlesworth with a powerful story. He's a former Ridgewood High School lacrosse star and two-time All-American.
This is in New Jersey, by the way.
Medically induced coma after coming down with a virus after spending time on a ventilator and 5 full weeks in the hospital. The governor today announcing that Jack has died.
Now we go to the video and find out that him walking through the door to his mom and dad actually was him getting out of the hospital because he's healthy now.
It was a long month, but slowly Jack rebounded. And last Thursday, he was clapped out.
And while the video plays, the anchor is going, "No!"
by the doctors and nurses who saved his life as he walked out of the hospital.
Oh.
For Jack and for the hundreds more who have left our hospitals, we are hopeful and optimistic.
I feel horrible. Jack is very much alive. Yes. Jack, we love you. And the story Michelle did brought so many people closer to you, and your story closer to all of us again. Jack is alive and back home. He has come home, not in the figurative sense.
Somebody get Aunt Blanche up off the floor there, get some defibrillators because her nephew is alive.
But in the quite literal sense, and my deepest apologies for that. I was just misread everything, and I apologize, but he is alive, and we are grateful for that.
Yeah, it's so good to hear all of those success stories, and I'm sure that smile he had in that picture is even brighter right now.
Yeah, because he's not dead, and he when he was watching TV with his family, he's like, "What? Do I Ed, did I die? Oh, okay, all right. He said okay, cool. We're cool. Excellent. Hey, by the way, I have a line of politically incorrect T-shirts and swag and whatnot. Just go to tpublic.com, look up Conservatees. All right? There's my Chuck Fina. It's a new one. So you take the CH and you put it on the China, and then you use the F to the UC. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Chuck Fina, there's Hillary in 20 Never. You can put that on a T-shirt. You can put that on a hoodie or whatever. You can't coexist when some people want to kill you. Kind of get back at the people who drive the Priuses and have the bumper stickers that say coexist on them, and farms not arms and stuff like that. So if you would, please order something that I get a little piece of that. My friend Sam Cangelosi, a designer, he gets to do that as well. Texas judge ordered all county residents to wear masks in public or face fines, jail time. Law enforcement said, Juck the Fudge. The judge. Okay, anyway. Texas judge in Harrison County ordered issued the order on Wednesday, demanding that all county residents wear their masks. The new rule, which require adults and children under 10 to cover their nose and mouth when venturing outside the home. No, the sheriff says, don't think so. People are going to face a $1,000 fine, 180 days in jail. In response to the ruling, the unions representing Houston's police officers and Harris County deputies shot back, saying their officers do not intend to endorse the new mandate. The citizens of Harris County are working hard together through this pandemic and do not need the added stress and fear of being fined or arrested for failing to wear a mask or covering they may not have. This is according to David Cuevas, president of the Harris County Deputies Organization, referred to the order as draconian. I'd say let's modernize it a little bit. Can we at least make it Nazistic or Marxist or communistic? Draconian is kind of dated, Democratic Party-esque, kind of updated a little bit. Things are pretty bad when the Amish are getting busted. Yeah, the Amish. Apparently in Ohio's Gewega County, the health commissioner, Thomas Quaid, sent a letter to Amish bishops saying, hey, man, y'all can't be getting together and stuff. You can't be getting into Ford Econoline vans with 6 rows of passengers and going in town to go grocery shopping or work at the Amish market or whatever. So that's what the order was given. Over the weekend, a large gathering of Amish people was broken up by police. One person getting arrested, another issued a summons, 2 charged with underage drinking, oddly enough. Apparently there was some concern, and there were large gatherings happening, and somebody decided to call the police. Well, it certainly wasn't somebody Amish, because if I'm not mistaken, Amish people don't have phones. I could be wrong. I don't think the Amish people would call the police on themselves. So some jagoff called the police, saw that the Amish were having a party in a barn. I thought they raised barns and not partied in barns. But anyway, when the police got there, the barn was full of people. Some of them ran. There was one that was too intoxicated to run, and that person had to be transported by ambulance. So apparently there were some large gatherings in Amish communities, despite stay-at-home orders. The Amish community, it's a community. This is just absolute crap. This is just crap. Today I saw an ad, and I think it was Oscar Mayer. And Oscar Mayer on May the 2nd wants everybody to bring their grill into their driveway, and everybody in the neighborhood have a grill, and they're going to donate a bunch of food to needy families. And I think that's wonderful. But they literally want you to sit in your driveway. Do not attempt to go over to your neighbor's driveway. This is how we're going to do things in the neighborhood anymore. You're going to have to sit across the cul-de-sac from people. Hey, Fred, how you doing there, buddy? Yeah, good. Hey, good to see you. Yeah. They're talking about a new normal, and this is the new normal. F the new normal. No, there will not be a new normal. I will not abide by a new normal like this. It will not happen. It will not happen. There's a criminal here. I want to show you a picture of a hardened criminal. This woman is Krista Thompson. She was first warned on April the 9th that her garage sale was breaking the law. Still had it running more than a week later. Despite repeated warnings, the police department said that. A garage sale is not an essential business, should not be open for business, according to the police. He filled the entire front yard, spilled onto the backyard as well. Violating the stay-at-home order in Idaho is misdemeanor that is punishable by up to 6 months in jail or a $1,000 fine. And by God, I hope she gets both of them. Right to jail with you for 6 months and a $1,000 fine. Thompson's husband, Peter, said that they were just sorting through her wife's late father's belongings rather than holding a garage sale. Criminal. They're really going to have to do a new version of America's Most Wanted with people like, I don't know, giving another person a haircut or having more than 9 people at a backyard gathering. And this is absolutely remarkable. Pandemic drones. A flock of pandemic drones are in flight across parts of Connecticut. Westport, Connecticut Police Department working alongside drone manufacturer Dragonfly to test the drones. If you think this is okay, then I need you to go with your lemmings and jump off a cliff. The drones have specialized sensors and computer vision systems that can display a person's temperature, respiratory, and heart rates. The drones are also able to detect people sneezing and coughing and can detect symptoms and conditions 190 feet away. Is this the world you want to live in? Is this the world you want to live in when somebody's coughing and has a little temperature and all of a sudden a van pulls up and grabs them and tosses them into the back? Are you kidding me? Because that's what's coming. That's what happened in China. The Westport Police Department, along with first responders around the world, are looking for effective ways to ease the spread of COVID-19, keep their communities safe. Westport Chief Police Foti Kaskenis, I guess. This technology not only enhances the safety of our officers and the public, but the concept of using drones remains a go-to technology for reaching the most remote areas with little or no manpower needed. It also helps our officers acquire decision-quality data that they need to make their best choices in any given situation. And, that whole right to privacy thing, F that. Ha ha ha! Drones. Wow, wow, wow. Westport and its first responder network is one of the most progressive public safety advocates in the nation. They are real pioneers when it comes to adopting and integrating new technology to protect our community. This is the stuff that you've been worried about. This is the stuff that you've been seeing in movies for decades where drones fly over. This is the police. Put down your weapon. This is the police. Break up your meeting. This is the police. You can't possibly having a protest or a rally supporting your First Amendment right. This is the police. You cannot go to church. Unbelievable. And if you think this is okay, you grew up in the wrong country. If you think that's okay, you grew up in the wrong country. You need to consider North Korea. You need to consider Cuba. You need to go somewhere else. I'm serious. Let's wrap things up with something a little bit light. A lot of people are kind of bored. I don't know. What are you doing these days? Today, I had my day off. I had my big day off. I recorded my show for Newsmax and did a bunch of stuff around the house. And I made dinner. I made enchiladas, made some grilled chicken and red sauce enchiladas, a little cheese on it. It was quite lovely. And tonight, I'm going to go hang out, maybe watch some Netflix, hang out with the family, chill. And it's back to work tomorrow. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day. But some people have a little bit of free time, including Jeremiah Warlick. Be ready to laugh because this is pretty funny. Jeremiah Warlick is testing the strength of a watermelon by doing this. Apparently, there's a watermelon challenge. He calls himself the Rubber Band Man, and what people have been doing is they put rubber bands around a watermelon until the watermelon explodes. Okay, they apparently were going to do this with Michael Moore, and they would have gotten the same result, but they decided not to. Because nobody wants any bit of Michael Moore on them. That would be just awful. So here is the watermelon man, rubber band man Jeremiah. This is actually really funny. Enjoy. This will be the last video of this show. There's a rubber band man, rubber band man. 900, literally 900. Look at that watermelon. 944, 945. Okay, we got the last rubber band on there. I'm going to sit back here. 43. Nope, trying to split a little. I'm going to go sit in the chair here, see what happens. This is not a good idea. In 3. I'm sorry. I gotta see that again. Hold on. Wait, hold on. One more time. Here it is. Yes. Oh, how you doing there, Jared? Oh, glad to have you. Glad to have you watching. I hope you enjoyed the Rubber Band Man. Okay, well, guys. That's going to do it for me tonight. I really appreciate it if you would share on social media. Also, check out my YouTube channel. It's at Rob Carson Show. I'm going to be starting my radio show. We just got to kind of iron some things out, but we will be on the air here very, very soon. And if you want to just, keep following these 2 Facebook pages, that'd be awesome. Rob Carson Show and Rob Carson Twitter. It's Rob Carson as well. I hope you and your family doing gloriously well. God bless you. We're going to get through this, and we're going to come back stronger than ever. And if you don't want to do that, then you're in the wrong country. We're going to be back bigger and better than ever. God bless you. See you soon.